right, welcome inside for a special Centennial Cup edition of SJHL Insider. I'm your host, Clark Munroe. We're here at the IKS Media Studios it's that time of year where the SJHL representative is it's in Calgary this year, of course, at the Max Bell Center, and they have completed their round-robin games, and now it's time to look ahead to the playoff and see what's going on there. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to bring him in right now, our good buddy, Jamie Neugebauer, who has been all over this tournament. Nugsy, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. One of my favorite times of the year, Centennial Cup. Gotta love it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a really good tournament all around. Mm-hmm. Really interesting, a lot of parity, a lot of not really sure who's going to take the reins of this tournament yet. There's been some good performances and some good teams. Obviously, they're all good teams at this point of the year, but it's been a really interesting kind of all over the place tournament. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's been good. The parity has been intense. There have been a few blowouts, but then those teams go back and play well the next night. So clearly, I think the high level talent maybe isn't there as much as maybe in past years, but I'd say it's much more kind of a jumble in the middle. And as we head to the playoffs here, which start tomorrow, prediction of what's going to happen is going to be very tough because really there isn't one team that separated itself.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to be joined in a few minutes by the CJHL Coach of the Year for the third straight year in the SJHL, by the way. Just want to point that out as many times as possible. Trevor Blevins from the Melfort Mustangs in Calgary going to join us momentarily. So we want to get to it. First, before we get into the recaps, I want to thank all of our sponsors. We start with Borgo, Capital Auto Mall, Cantera Seeds, Chevrolet, Sask Lotteries, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, Nutrien, Tourism Saskatchewan, Sask Energy, our broadcast sponsor, UPL, of course, SGEU Great Western, SGI, our podcast sponsor, and RBC. So, Nugsy, it's that time where I ask Bryce to hit the hat trick. There we go. We're dancing. We're having a good time. Let's get into the game recaps, Nugsy, and we're going to start all the way back. It feels like it was a month ago, but it was just a few days ago, about a week ago, actually. Game one, the Calgary Canucks, who are hosting, but a lot of people consider them possibly the favorite, probably the favorite at the start of the tournament. They took a 3-1 victory over the Melfort Mustangs. All in all, a very close game. I think there was a good matchup in terms of the two teams. On a day one where there was, three very close games, a little bit more high scoring in the other two in day one, but in terms of a 5-4 victory for Trenton over Norman, and then Edmundston beat Rockland 4-3, which might have been a bit of a surprise in overtime, 2 overtime games. But this one also very close, Nugsy. Calgary and Melfort. Yeah,
close. Don't want to spend too much time in it. You can go back to my chat with Austin Shepard on Monday that you can find on sjhl.ca. But it could have gone either way. Zayden Saddlemeyer had an open net, hit the post with the open net, so I'm sure he'll have nightmares. Yeah. But, Calgary hit posts. Christian Coombs was terrific. They didn't find a way, but it was just game one, so you can't win or lose a tournament in game one.
Exactly, and you put that in the game recap tweet as well, right? Best part about it is you can't lose a tournament in game one. The boys were off on Friday, and then on Saturday they took on the Edmundston Blizzard for a noon puck drop. A 5-3 victory in this one, and they looked pretty solid overall.
Yeah, obviously, first and foremost, we hope for the best for Raleigh Kotai,
of course,
who suffered an injury in that game. But the Mustangs, as they usually do, found a way, to find a way to someone else to step up, and they did that. They got, they had a 3-1 lead. They let it slip, and then Zach Summers really turned it on. He had a hat trick in the game.
That
he was
his
everywhere.
Coming out party for sure.
Yeah, he was terrific. And again, Christian Coombs was terrific. Again, put that on record. He's proven everybody who doubted him in this tournament, and it's great to see. And again, the Mustangs desperately needed that one, and they got it.
And like I said, Zach Summers' coming out party, that was a huge performance on his behalf. but the whole team as well. But then they had Sunday and Monday off, so a couple of days to rest up and figure some stuff out. And then they took on Rockland, who some people were considering to be one of the more favorites in this tournament as well. Very good team in terms of the CJHL overall power rankings throughout the year. They were up there for most of the year. But a 5-2 victory with 4 third-period goals for Melfort in this one to take this win. And it was a big win.
Yeah, it was big. You know, bunch of adversity. Mentioned no Kotai, Nolan Roberts left with an injury, and then there was an issue with the ice in the first period.
That was
with
crazy.
a huge hole. Yeah, it looked like a fishing hole. I
said, somebody asked me what was going on. I'm like, well, a pizza of ice basically just came off of the ice surface.
Yeah, it was wild.
Down to the ground, pretty much. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was a huge chunk.
And I don't really know 100%, but you know, it looked like on the video the referees were like, let's play, and people were like, let's play, and Trevor Blevins is like, we're not playing with that. Like,
that was
like the Mustangs had to get off the bench right there where that ice was.
That was one of those things. Remember, I don't know if you remember going to like a public skate back in the day when there was an ice issue and they would put like a pylon over it and just don't skate here. It's like, okay, well, let's play the game, but let's just put a pylon over this chunk. You can't skate here. Don't skate here, but everywhere else is good. Yeah, that's not how it works. Weirdly enough, it's a safety issue.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a good call, but they moved ice surfaces and
and HN Live even was able to broadcast it on the other one, which was a great job by them to find a way, even though we had to watch it through black mesh. But, you know, whatever. It was the first time in 13 games the Melfort Mustangs didn't score the first goal in the game, as Noah Leframboise scored the first goal, but then Will Monroe, another Mustang, stepped up and tied it up, and the Mustangs probably played their best period of the tournament so far. In the third, they scored 4 goals, and that doesn't always mean, obviously it's indicative of playing well if you score 4 goals in a period, but it clearly was their best period in the tournament so far, and found a way to win. And yes, Rockland, I would say I mentioned in our preview that their coach Justin Pereira was maybe the star coach of the tournament. You know, heading in, obviously, Trevor Blevins, you know, well-deserved coach of the year. But Pereira has shown that he's a great coach. His team is very well coached, more than anything. And they know they have talent for sure, but I think they're more of a all-together unit. And certainly the Melfort Mustangs, show that they can play with anybody at this tournament too. So it was a really good third period, and I enjoyed it.
And then yesterday, of course, on the Wednesday afternoon matinee, they took the Braves de Valleyfield down in overtime. Jacques Newberry's favorite team in the tournament, Nugsy. But obviously the Braves had been eliminated at this point. It was an important win, but the Mustangs sent out, the B squad it feels weird to say, but they rested a lot of vets. A lot of the young guys got a chance to get some time on the ice, and Braden Westerland, that was what a way to finish it off. And like you said, somebody else stepping up, and it seems like the Mustangs have had that mentality for a couple of years now, and they continued it on Wednesday night.
Yeah, well, because Calgary beat Edmundston in regulation the day before, Trevor Blevins knew that he couldn't finish first. The Mustangs couldn't finish first in the group, so they just needed 1 point from this game against a Valleyfield team that really struggled, we'll say, throughout the tournament. They do have clearly some offensive talent. It was not a pretty game. I wouldn't say he really played a B team. He did rest Nolan Roberts, who, as I mentioned, maybe had a bit of an injury. Riley Kotai, who, hopefully we see him again. But Nick Andrusiak, Zach Summers also stepped back. And then Christian Coombs didn't start. Milwaukee did. So, the Mustangs rotated guys, but they still had enough depth to be a very good
And the best
team,
part
right?
about that's why I said I don't know if I want to call it a B squad. The best part about the Mustangs B squad is it's just as good as most teams' A squad, and that's why they're where they are.
Yeah, and they were up 3-0 in the second, and it felt like Melfort was going to win by 15. Yeah, and then they. Unfortunately, Mustangs probably also felt like they were going to win by 15, and when you do that often against good teams, good things don't happen. And the Valleyfield Braves had 3 breakaways and made it 3-3, and then Melfort had made it 4-3, and then it was 4-4, and then Westerland scored. Austin Shepard was given a 5-minute major for, I don't believe that it was a 5-minute major for a hit. I think the referees responded to the fact that the Valleyfield guy was kind of down on the ice, and hopefully there's no supplemental discipline. I haven't heard, but Braden Westerland with about 30 seconds left. Great move by Ashton Paul, and you talk about guys stepping up. Riley Kotai obviously is a huge offensive piece for this Melfort team. Who's going to step up, kind of in his role? Well, I think Ashton Paul's really done that, alongside Zach Summers. So Ashton's been marvelous in this tournament. He deserves every bit of praise that the HN Live broadcasters have given him. Obviously it's a crew there in Melfort. So Westerland took advantage of a bit of a rebound there and poked it in, and the Valleyfield team was furious because they felt the net was off. I don't think it was, but they said it was off.
It didn't look like it in the highlight that I saw.
It didn't look like it to me. And then the second thing was Braden Westerland did kind of whack a Valleyfield guy in the head before. But I mean, he's wearing a cage, so whatever. The referees didn't call it on the ice, and they're not going to reverse it. So it was a good call, I think, by the refs too. The Mustangs got their point. They got the win. You always want to go into the playoffs with a win too, even if it didn't matter. But I'm sure Trevor Blevins, who's I think ready to talk to us.
Yeah, he's
has a lot that he wants to get off his plate with his team in practice at 11:30 here.
We'll get this Trevor in moments. Just as we get into point number 2 of the hat trick, let's just have a look at how the round robin wrapped up. Say that 10 times fast with the standings. We'll just see kind of where we're at now going into Friday's playoff round. Obviously, the Melfort Mustangs, you can see over there, they don't play in the SIJHL. It's the SJHL, but that's okay. We'll forget that happened. The 8 points on the right side there in group number B, that gives them a second place finish, which means they're going to end up playing in the first playoff matchup on Friday, the Greater Sudbury Cubs, the Greater Sudbury Blueberry Cubs. Yeah. I'm hoping that joke has been made at the tournament. I'm not the first one to make it, but obviously it's a Shoresy reference for those who don't know. The Melfort Mustangs are moving on. They'll play Greater Sudbury. The other matchup on Friday will be Rockland at Norman. Norman is the second-ranked team in Group A. Rockland, of course, is the third-place team in Group B. The winners of those games will end up playing Calgary and Trenton, but there's kind of more to it than just that, I think, Nugsy, right? Yeah. So they get to pick or something like that?
Yeah, so just quickly, Melfort, Trevor Blevins got to pick which quarterfinal he wanted because he was the higher seeded second-ranked team, so obviously he picked the earlier one, so you have more time to watch the other teams and also a little bit more rest. And then because Calgary has better goal difference than Trenton, they're the higher seed first-place team, so they get to pick who their opponent is in the semis and the time slot. Usually you pick whichever one you think is the weaker opponent and the earlier one, so again you have more time for rest because it's a 3-3 for quarterfinal teams or a back-to-back for semifinal teams. So it was important for Melfort to at least get the 2 seed, I think, just so that they could make sure they get that 4:00 game on Friday. Sudbury, we'll get into that, I guess, but they've played hard, so can't take it for granted.
Director Bryce in the back, did we have anything else to touch on before we move on to our interview with Coach Blevins? He is. Oh, who's on the phone? Trevor. Okay, so we need to stretch. He's good? Okay, we're good. Yeah. Why don't we get to him then? Because I know he's got lots going on.
Well, he's got practice at 11:30, so or 15.
Coach
something.
Blevins, welcome to the show. Good to see you again. I'm going to start with this. Obviously, congrats on the CJHL Coach of the Year nod. Well deserved, and of course, it's the third straight year now in the SJHL that a coach from our league has won this award. So, kudos to you, kudos to your staff, kudos to your players, and congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if that's an individual acknowledgement that should be given. I feel it's organizational driven and should be recognized. It's just a first-class organization with the board of directors and all the volunteers and everyone that chips in and helps out, and the staff, and I guess most importantly, the players. They get the job done each and every day, and couldn't be more proud of them. And they're going to share in this also big time. And, I think that they should hold their heads high, and they deserve all the credit for this kind of recognition.
Absolutely. I fully agree. And I remember asking Mike Reagan this exact question last year, and his answer was very similar. So there you go. It's the diplomatic answer, but again, congrats, Trevins. Trevor.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
You're only as good as a coach as hard as your players will play. So
exactly.
And they got a great group here, and they showed it every day.
That's exactly right. And Trevor, let's talk about your round robin. We'll get into the playoff round and thoughts about that soon, but just walk us through the 4 games in the round robin. Obviously, a really tough opponent to kick it off, but then you guys kind of found your stride and got a good amount of points going forward. Can you talk about the 4 games?
Yeah, for sure. I'll take a break between each game because it's been quite a while here through this.
Yeah, totally.
You guys could tee me up each one, but
well, let's go. Yeah, start with Calgary though. Yeah,
Calgary and Calgary was a game where we had an excellent start. I just thought that we were heavy. We played our way. We were definitely winning a lot of puck battles. We were on top of them. We did everything great defensively. I think the back half of the 10 minutes, though, in the first period, we got a little bit softer, took a couple penalties, and then, they kind of came out. I didn't like us as much kind of in the second, I would say. It was just where kind of traded some chances, and we kind of let our foot off the gas in kind of how we play. And, guys were a little bit complaining about the energy, and really the elevation level kind of played a part in that. So we had to adjust for that and make sure the guys are a little more hydrated and a little more got a little more sugar in them, I guess you could say, for games coming into the next round. But that game could have went either way. It was great battle. I thought both teams played well in the third, and it just came down to really game of inches, really.
Yeah, it's funny, Trevor. When we have long recording days, I have to make sure Nugsy also has enough hydration and sugar as well, or else the show quality just dips.
Out.
Yeah. What about Edmundston on Saturday? How did that one go for you guys?
Yeah, slow start. Actually, we didn't start on time at noon. It was a tough go for us. I thought our first period was. We were very fortunate for Christian Coombs to really stand in there. He made some big saves in the first period. We were uncharacteristically sloppy in our D zone and picking up and coverage, and we adjusted after the first period. And really, I thought we took control a lot of that game after that. And they didn't get a lot of quality chances, but we definitely just played our game and battled it out, and really guys just made sure that we competed hard and played the way we can.
For sure. Did Edmundston's physicality surprise you, or did you know that they would be like that kind of?
Yeah, it did. Good question, because we didn't see that in the films from the playoff run that they had. So with that, it was almost like they wanted to try and beat us at our own game, really, it felt like, and it didn't work. I thought they took too many penalties. They kind of got off of their skill and their speed. And, for us, we were mentally tough that game. I thought we did a great job staying out of the penalty box and stayed disciplined when they were trying to get in our face. And, there's history there where, Matthew Pigeon, I'm sure, was giving them a pointers to go after this guy. He'll take penalties, or this guy will, or so there's always that gamesmanship inside the game. But guys did a great job battling through and sticking with it, and I was very impressed with our discipline.
Yeah, for sure. And then you guys have time off, which is good because you had a few injury situations maybe coming out of that. Just maybe what did you guys talk about? I know you let them rest and go to Banff and do some things, but what did you talk about sort of in the intermission, I guess, between the two beginning games and end games that you wanted to make sure they focused on for Rockland?
Well, the fact that we didn't really play our best yet was probably one of those things where we had trouble adjusting for some reason. But we had a great day off in Banff. Actually, going on a small hike. It wasn't that long a one, but it was great to get the heart going in the elevation actually and get used to that. And then we took the next day. We only practiced and really just kind of rested and had some meetings about Rockland and what we needed to do better, but also how do we have to, beat our opponent. And I really thought our game against Rockland was excellent. First period, even though we fought the puck a little bit, I think we only gave up like 6 shots on net and very few quality chances. And so it was unfortunate at the end of the first that, that ice situation happened, but we're not about excuses in our dressing room, so it's same for both teams. I don't buy into that. We kept our guys full of energy and food and whatever they needed, and made sure we got through the day. And You know, it was kind of on the ice, off the ice, on the ice, off the ice. But to me, we just stuck to it. Again, mental toughness, just didn't have to waver from what we wanted to get done. And although I will say the first 10 minutes in the other rink, we didn't play very well. We were a little bit behind it. I thought we were a little bit slow to it. We weren't moving our feet as much as we were in the first. And, you know, I think there's some big saves again by Christian to keep us where we were at. And then the back half of that game, I thought we were fantastic. We just took control. I thought physically we had our feet moving. We were making plays, and guys played with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, for sure. I thought that was the best game that you guys have played for sure so far, and overcome that adversity. And obviously, I guess just take us through your thought process for the lineup for the Valleyfield game. Given some injuries, given some need to give some guys some rest too.
Well, lessons learned, right, all the way through a tournament like this, and I remember being in the Royal Bank Cup in Portage, and it was kind of a game where you wanted to push for home ice, but it really wasn't that important. And we played a couple key guys that, and we ended up suffering some nicks out of that game that we probably didn't need to have going into the semifinal against Portage. And I thought that really hurt our chances in that game. And so in a situation like this, you got to really balance out like what's most important. Is it to actually, be third place, or is it to make sure you have guys rested? Because we are 5 games in 6 days if we get this done. So we're going to need a big energy push here come Saturday and Sunday if that's the case. And, you have to balance the rest versus, do you need the win? And for us as a group, we just thought that we could do both. Against this opponent, given the situation. And we wanted to rest some guys that not necessarily are injured, but, could use a break. And and then it was more or less, we've had Fleury, Kipe in the lineup all year. We've had Aikens and, Aikens, Nelson, and other guys. Like, we've had a lineup similar that have gotten it done against in our group and against teams in our league. So we were confident in that lineup. I felt that if we got the 1 point, it would really help us too. So we had to balance that out, and I thought our guys did a great job. Even though we got up 3-0 and we let it slip, we recovered after that. I think we got just a little bit too arrogant, got the foot off the gas in that situation in the back half of the second period. And, but in the third, I really thought we mostly played okay, and we came out hard, and then. Unfortunate shorthanded goal against us, but we, again, persevered. I thought we were, we didn't quit. We knew this game was important too, to maybe get a point or get 2 and set us up for a third place where you get home ice, you get to pick your time. But really, in the grand scheme of things, you got to beat everyone. Like, you're going to end up facing good teams. The playoffs weren't actually set, as you know, until last night or at 9:30. So you didn't even know who we were really gonna, what game we were gonna play in. We knew our opponent, but we didn't know if we were gonna be at 4 o'clock or at 7:30. So it's just managing all those variables really in a long tournament, and I think we set it up as best we can here going into Friday.
Last one for me, Trevor. Really appreciate your time as you get ready for practice. Maybe preview practice for me. I watched that Valleyfield game, and I was unsure, what to take from it, if anything. Like, Valleyfield was done, and they were just playing pond hockey, and if you guys kept playing, maybe it was 3-0. It could have been 15-0. But I don't know. Do you take anything from that where you're like, we better focus and practice harder, boys, and figure it out? Or you just kind of throw that one out and trust that you have a veteran core that will get ready for Sudbury the right way tomorrow?
You want the honest answer?
Always.
Like, honestly, always. In a grand scheme of things, it was a nothing game, right?
Yeah.
So, and really our guys, the message was, play heavy, play hard, but don't put yourself in bad situations. Like, Belton took a couple high hits, and it was like, okay, we probably don't want this to be happening. And so then, it's one of those where you probably take absolutely nothing away from it, because we didn't want, you could tell we just didn't want to engage too hard. We didn't want to do anything too aggressively. And that's how you manage the tournament. I'm just being honest. You can't put the pedal down in a game like that when you got 5 games in 6 days. It's just not smart. And so, yeah, we save some energy, and we hope it pays dividends for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Trevor, this isn't your first rodeo in terms of national championships. You kind of alluded to that earlier just with some of your past experiences. But on a lighter note, how cool is it to, especially when the tournaments are out in the West, where you get some alumni coming out to the games and some former players and family members hosting you? I saw some pictures of you were with the Binner family. They provided a steak dinner the other day, or whatever it happened to be. And how nice is it to kind of be able to take some time off the ice and celebrate with some of those types of people?
It's been fantastic. Like, when you say that, you talk about all the way from Wolfville, Nova Scotia, Kevin Dickey, support from people out there, alumni, all the way to BC. It's really heartwarming, to be honest, and very appreciated. Obviously, we've got our whole hotel that we stayed in Oakville last year sending us messages that, bring it home. And it's really a Mustang nation, and it's great to see all the past alumni, like all the way from when the team first started. Like it's unbelievable. And then you see the Flin Flon Bomber jerseys in the stands and other teams' jerseys supporting the SJHL, and you gotta check your emotions on it a little bit. I'm getting a little teary, but we want to make sure we keep our 5 seconds in front of our face, and maybe not get too wrapped up in that, because it's when you think about it, it's pretty special.
It is it's a very cool aspect. And I mean, the phrase that you hear all the time in the hockey world is a small one. And it's a tight-knit family, so it's very cool to see those kinds of moments throughout these types of tournaments where everybody's an opponent, but at the end of the day, it's just a really cool place for everybody to be at and celebrate this junior hockey that we all call an industry. But Trevor, last one for you before we let you go. What have you seen from the Greater Sudbury Cubs so far, and what do you think as an opponent they're going to give you guys tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, and before we get to that, I mean, there's one important piece I forgot in that little statement I made was Melfort Mustang fans from Melfort. Like they're rolling in here like crazy, and from our own community and area, it's huge. Can't thank them enough. But on the Sudbury team, there's although it would be characteristic to say maybe it's a lower league in the CJHL, but that's not a lower team. I'm going to tell you, there's major junior experience. We've watched a couple games of them play here at the tournament. They play with pace. They play with speed. They play aggressive. They are a team that has skill. We're going to have to defend well. They got a great back end with good size and great goaltending. So they deserve to be here. Like they deserve to probably even been up the standings in their pool, in my opinion. So we have a tough opponent. There's no, it's the NOJHL, because that's irrelevant. It's the Greater Sudbury Cubs that have major junior experience, and they have players that are very, very talented. And we need to play it structured, play our way, and play with some heaviness and urgency.
Did you ask Scott Barney about any tips about them, or not really?
No, not really. I think that would be a conflict of interest for him, being the head coach of the OHL team.
They got to trust him. I get it. Fair enough.
Yeah, well, it's pretty tough going for coffee the next day here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So Barney, it seemed like everything we did, they had an answer for it. Why is that, Barney?
Exactly. Yeah, so, hey, if their offices aren't that far away, it might be some bad blood.
Yeah. Well, Trevor, we'll let you get back to everything. Obviously, best of luck tomorrow. Best of luck in practice today with health and everything going on with the boys. And we're all rooting for you back here next door in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, thanks for everything, guys. We're listening, and I appreciate everybody's support, and the boys know it. We'll just keep going and doing what we can to get this thing and bring it home.
That's great.
All right, Trevor, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
There he is, Trevor Blevins, the CJHL Coach of the Year. But as in his words, that's not an individual award. Yeah. It's a team award. It's an organizational award. So there you go. There he is, Trevor Blevins. And again, this isn't his first rodeo, so it's good to hear him, drawing from some of that experience from past RBC Cups, but Centennial Cups in the past, and making decisions that are better for the length of the tournament, not necessarily all just like, in the moment. And I was having a good chat with, you've been talking to him too, I'm sure, but Jeremy Corrigan has been very interested in this tournament and keeping his eye on everything very closely. And that was his message even when we were chatting yesterday was, really good on Trevor to get some of those younger guys some time. And here's the other thing, Nugsy. I mean, all things go well, they're going to hopefully be able to defeat Greater Sudbury. Some of those younger guys, depending on what happens in this game, might be called upon. So to get them a game under their belt so they're not maybe fresh in a semi-final on Saturday. I'm not looking ahead, of course, but if everything goes well, they'll be playing on Saturday, and who knows? Obviously, knock on wood, nothing goes wrong. But some of those younger guys might get called upon, so it's good to get them some action.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an ideal way to run your organization. I mean, the second year in a row for the Melfort Mustangs that they had a game like that to end the group stage at the Centennial Cup, because they had nothing to play for when they played Oakville at the end of the group stage last year too. And who did you see step up? You saw Christian Coombs step up, and then what did he do this year? He was unbelievable. Last year, again, they had to rely on guys like Danton Cox and Caleb Binner and Austin Shepard. How good were they this year? All year. Well, amazing. So it's a great way to run your organization. Not everybody can do it, but it shouldn't be surprising then that the Melfort Mustangs have had this continuity. Now, I do want to talk about Sudbury very, very quickly.
Sure,
you mentioned it. They have legitimate skill, legitimate skill. Like Lincoln Moore is having a wonderful tournament. He is a call-up from Junior B technically, but he has 130 OHL games under his belt, so he's pretty legit. And then their superstar Lucas Signoretti actually played for Scott Barney and the Sudbury Wolves last year. And obviously, if you don't know who Scott Barney is, he was the coach of the Humboldt Broncos for a while, and then he got hired by the Sudbury Wolves in the OHL last year. So this year, pardon me. So it's a situation too where the Sudbury Cubs play in the Northern Ontario Junior Hockey League. You're like, oh, what are they going to be like? Blah blah blah. But perception and all that stuff matters zero. Once you get here, you're facing champions. And Greater Sudbury's played super well, and they hammered Grand Prairie of the AJ. People say, oh, the AJ is a great league, and certainly it's a good league. But Greater Sudbury hammered them, they handled them. So, Trevor Blevins is going to know that this team better be ready. That's all I have to say, and that's all they have to say, for sure. Yeah,
there you go. So it's going to be a great matchup tomorrow. I think we have a graphic just showing kind of the playoff bracket now.
There you go.
So there it is. Obviously, you see the Friday afternoon game is going to be Melfort versus Greater Sudbury. So if you're wanting to tune in, make sure you get to the right game. It's the 4 o'clock game. And then at 7:30 tomorrow, Rockland plays Northern Manitoba, I should say their whole name. The winners of those two games, Newsy, can you just explain one more time? Winners of those two games will play Trenton and Calgary on Saturday for the semifinal, but there's a caveat to that.
Yes, so Calgary had one better goal difference. Can we put that back up? I'll talk over the graphic if that's okay. Calgary had one more goal difference, not point in the standing, goal difference.
Right, goal
better than Trenton, and because Calgary won Group B, Trenton won Group A, so they're both group winners. They both had 9 points, but Calgary, they were +8. Trenton was +7. So Calgary, the way it goes then is that Calgary has the choice of time slot in the semifinal and opponent.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see who Calgary picks, who they perceive, is the best team or the worst team left. And, and as I said, Melfort, Trevor Blevins being the best number 2 team in the tournament, had the choice of the 4 or the 7:30, and he picked the 4 as well.
But he only had the choice of the time slot.
Only the time slot, because it was set up that, Greater Sudbury finished third.
Opponent.
That's right. You pick your opponent and the time slot in the semi. Blevins could have just picked the time slot because it's 2 versus 3 crossover, irregardless. And then obviously whichever, if Trenton plays Calgary in the final, then Calgary will have, the last change and all that. But, and that'll be on TSN, which should be interesting as well.
Yeah, very cool.
But as you heard Blevins say as well, another takeaway too is if they get the job done, 5 games in 6 days for the Mustangs. So
exactly.
That's a lot. And so to get Christian Coombs especially, who's been wonderful. Like that was, so I kind of had, my 4 takeaways from the group stage. I'll run through them quickly.
Sure.
One is step up. So step up for Riley Kotai. He kind of was tackled down and kind of folded, lower body injury. Hopefully he can come back. I'm not sure. Nolan Roberts, I don't really know what happened to him during the Rockland game, but he only kind of played half of it. So step up, and guys have. Christian Coombs is very, very good. I wondered, when we would find out whether he was good, given how good the team defense and was in front of him this year. He's very, very good.
He's good.
We found out. So there you go. We found out that he's good. And he's had to be good in the Centennial. Yeah. And 3 is they haven't played anywhere near their best game.
Right.
Their face-off percentage is worse than everybody. They've never in the SJHL this year ever been out face-offed by anybody, and they have been throughout this tournament. They've given up more odd man rushes against than they have, and certainly the competition is higher, and the style of hockey and the atmosphere is not great, we'll say. So, the Mustangs got to dig deep and find a way to play with that emotion for 60 minutes that we know that they can. They still find ways to win hockey games.
Yeah.
Play well or play bad.
Find a way to find a way. It's kind of been their slogan.
Right.
Yeah.
But when the push comes to shove and it's win or go out, you better bring your best game, right?
Yeah.
So that's 3. And then the 4th one, as I said, is they got some time off, for the likes of Nick Andrusiak and Zach Summers and Christian Coombs to get off his boots. And hopefully Nolan Roberts is okay.
He's such a big part of that defensive group. Just his physical, I'm going to say prowess, but his physical presence is the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Is just so noticeable.
Yes. You noticed. They noticed him.
Nolan Roberts.
Calgary noticed him, and Edmundston noticed him.
Yeah.
And the
Guelph
broadcasters
is going to notice him.
And the
when
University
he goes there.
of Guelph, where he is committed in youth sports.
Yeah,
very much so. He's going to do great there. So, Madden Malacca's numbers there against Valleyfield, not at all his fault.
Yeah.
3 breakaways and a funny bounce, not his fault.
Yeah.
But Madden's going to be a great goalie wherever he is, whether that's the Western League or the SJ. But just like Christian Coombs last year against Oakville, it's going to serve him in good stead to have played in that style.
For sure.
So those are my 4 takeaways.
Perfect. Well, I think, Nugsy, let's call it there. Okay. This is going to probably be, unless something crazy happens, our final SJHL broadcast of any kind until the draft show in June, which is not that far away, really. It's June 10th. So stay tuned for that. But this will be the last episode of Insider or episode of Weekly or anything like that we do for this season. So just want to give, I did a thank you on Weekly last week, but I just want to give one more thank you to all of our listeners and watchers and YouTube subscribers, podcast listeners, Facebook followers, Twitter followers. There's Bryce.
Especially Bryce.
Thanks to you too, Bryce.
Bryce and Kelly.
Kelly and Steven today, and Jordan other days, and intern Connor some other days, and just the whole crew again. Thank you, everybody, for making this happen, and the viewers for giving us a platform and tuning in and listening and showing interest in all of the stuff that we do.
Commissioner Kyle.
And
Jacob, Director of Marketing, for all the work to fund all this.
Yep, exactly. The sponsors, of course. That. Let's thank the sponsors one more time as we do. Cantera Seeds, Borgo, Capital Auto Mall, Sask Lotteries, Chevrolet, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, who, by the way, I should have mentioned, sponsored our interview with Trevor Blevins today. The coach's conversation with Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association. Thank you to them. I always miss that one. I apologize to Emery Wolf, who I know who works at that organization, and everybody there. But that is the coach's conversation sponsor. Nutrien, Tourism Saskatchewan, Sask Energy, UPL, of course, you see them all over our office here, all over the set, UPL, huge part of what we do here, SGEU, Great Western, SGI, and RBC. So thank you to our sponsors. Make sure if you want to tune in, the game is at 4 o'clock tomorrow, 4 o'clock on Friday, May 16th. And then if they continue on from there, if and when, I should say, they continue on from there, it'll be depending on how the selection process goes, I guess, for Saturday. So it'll be either 4 o'clock or 7:30. We will have you covered on SJHL.ca on social media. So make sure you follow us everywhere there.
And I should say, like, I'm heading there today.
Yes.
So I'll have boots on the ground coverage.
Yes.
On social media, interviews, reaction as
so
well.
So a lot more coming.
On top of the content that we've already been, I should say, putting out there
take
for the
credit.
Centennial. No.
You've been crushing it.
It takes a village.
You've been crushing it.
No, thanks.
Yeah. But on that graphic, Stephen, if you could just throw that social media one up again. Obviously, Flow Hockey is on there. The games aren't there. So if you're just now figuring out, like, oh, man, I want to watch tomorrow night's game, it's not on Flow Hockey. It's on hnlive.ca, and it is a paid broadcast.
Yeah.
So you got a pay-per-view. So make sure you do that.
But it's been so good. Like,
it's been good.
It's been Chris.
And like you're getting Peter Lubardius and Dave Dawson on the call. Like that's
and replays and
Gino DePauli's been calling a couple of games, I believe. But like tomorrow you will be getting Peter Lubardius, folks. That's worth the price of admission in its own self. Yep. If it was a no video and just Peter talking and his face, just him watching the game and calling it, I would watch that.
And he knows Saskatchewan. Like he played against Kyle McIntyre in minor hockey. Like he's such a great.
He used to call
he's
games
such a
in the
treat.
SJHL.
Yeah,
he has
he's
a long
such
connection.
He's such a good dude too. Like those are all such good dudes.
Yeah,
really loved listening to them. And if you listen to the intro, you get to hear our good buddy Sean Mullen as well. Yeah, because he does stuff for HN Live too. But anyways,
so great broadcast. So it is.
It's worth it.
I know it's a couple of bucks, but it is worth it.
And support the boys.
And support
Be positive on socials. Yeah. If you know them, send them a message.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And like I said, just keep it locked on all of our social media channels and our website. We'll have you covered. If you can't watch the game, we'll let you know how it went, and we'll have highlights for you and everything as well. So have a great Thursday night. Enjoy Friday and hopefully an extended weekend, because it is a long weekend, but an extended weekend of hockey for the Melfort Mustangs. And we can say at this time of the year, go Mustangs.
Go Mustangs.
We're going to turn off our league hats, turn off our league scenario, and just say straight up, go Mustangs.
Go Mustangs.
Bring it home, boys. And guys, we'll see you all at the draft show on June 10th, but you'll be seeing Neugsy a lot more on social media with content as he gets to Calgary and covers the rest of the tournament. So bye for now, and we'll see you down the road.